Hello and welcome to the corner. I'm the Frosted Glass, and I'm joined by my fellow traitorous savages, Jack Gunsky,
I did nothing.
Moonshock,
All crows are bastards.
eh, Terry Diamantis,
I know you did nothing, Jack. That was why last week sucked.
Don't make me kick your ass.
they're all trying to pin it on Jack, and this week's special guest, Johnny Hellcat.
I was promised Frosted Glass last week.
I was told there'd be punch and pie.
Yeah, there's not. And then Frost just leaves.
There's plenty of punch. Don't worry about that.
All right, but I don't hold any ill will against any of you. I just want you all to know that. So let's get on with our first article. 7 things you should never say to a Native American.
Oh my god.
Do tell. Do tell.
Sometimes even the most progressive non-natives can say things they don't realize are offensive to native friends and coworkers.
If prairie nigger is one of the things on the list, I'll agree with that. Probably shouldn't call them that.
Wait, okay, stop. Before we go any further, who the hell is rocking in a very squeaky chair?
That'd be me.
Stop it.
Wait, your cell has a chair? I didn't tell them to give you a chair.
What the hell is with the prison bars, enemies of the state?
What?
In the lower right-hand corner.
I mean, you tried to take over it. What am I supposed to do?
Oh, is that why you wanted us to die with the 3 tombstones last week?
Look at those people wearing morally offensive clothing.
I know.
How offensive of them. Don't they know they're perpetuating stereotypes?
Oh, and this is made by Benny Wayne Sully.
I don't know if there's a culture in the United States whose language, symbols, and traditions get appropriated more than that of Native Americans. And for some reason, no one is fazed by it.
It's called black people.
How about Germans? Mexicans?
The Irish.
About the French?
Irish,
Jesus,
yeah.
you want unflattering stereotypes? How about the French?
No, it's all Indians.
They're all portrayed as homosexuals who are really obnoxious.
Who are portrayed that way?
Damn, that's getting pretty specific there, Jack.
Who'd you say was portrayed that way?
French.
Oh, well, I mean, are they wrong?
They're all portrayed in stereotypical fashion as obnoxious homosexuals.
Oh my.
But not just homosexual cowards.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's just fact though.
I believe the cheese-eating surrender monkeys was the correct terminology.
I picture France like in Team America, where they all walk around in striped shirts and berets on like a street paved with croissants.
There was that show called The Critic when
Yes.
Jay and Marty start a food fight, and the moment a piece of sushi hits the French, they immediately surrender.
I may be biased. After all, I am a Sikangu Lakota native. After centuries of forced assimilation and federal laws preventing us from practicing our culture until 1978, for some reason, many Americans now feel comfortable co-opting native culture.
Okay, what do you think that the odds are that this person was born after 1978? I would say at least 98%.
I would say at least 100%.
Yeah, I was going to say about 100%.
Yeah,
It's a
co-opting someone else's culture is terrible, says Benny Wayne Sully.
Yeah, that sounds so Native American. What about Chief? I'm expecting like Chief Lapping Water or some kind of shit like that. Benny Wayne Sully. That's the most Native American name I've ever heard.
Hey, we don't sully the name of Chief Keith White.
Even the most progressive people may have said something to a native friend or coworker that was offensive to them. With that in mind,
Not us. Not us.
With that in mind, here are 7 things you should never say to a native person, and one more thing that you should never do.
So then it would be 8, not 7.
Let's see if my dad has done any of these to me.
Stop referring to meetings as powwows.
Well, there's your stream cancel, Johnny.
Yep.
I don't know what it is about dads and bosses that prevents them from being able to say, let's call a meeting or let's brainstorm, but it's far too common to use the word powwow instead.
Let's see. I have several meetings every single fucking day at work. Never once has the word powwow ever been used. Ever.
I've heard them referred to as powwows, but honestly, who gives a fuck? It's a word. It's a
Wayne
fucking
Sully
word.
does, Jack. That's who gives a fuck.
Sorry. What is it? First of all, what is it taking from you? What is it doing to you specifically? What does it actually do? Does the word make you bleed? Does the word that you didn't even know the asshole who said it last, and somehow that hurts you in some way? Bullshit.
The fact that someone somewhere is saying something that he disapproves of is wounding his spirit.
Yeah, what's your Indian name? Is it Chief Crying Pussy?
Chief Weeping Pussy. Powwows are enormous celebrations that require months of planning. They are a way to celebrate native heritage, art, and community. That
explains why Johnny's streams are so infrequent then.
A lot of them, specifically ones that take place on reservations, tend to be private festivals, but it is possible to find public ones in larger cities around Indigenous Peoples' Day.
What?
You heard him. The idea of taking a powwow and reducing it to a cute way to refer to your 10-minute conference call with Jeff from corporate just makes no sense to me.
That's insensitive to people named Jeff.
Yeah.
God forbid people do cute little things sometimes. Ooh, they did the person there put some funny glasses on their cat and it made the cat look like John Lennon. Ooh, it's cute and we gotta kill the cat now. Murder the cat.
John is the cat without the glasses. You're thinking of Will.
Jack wants to kill Will at Forage.
I mean, get the fuck over yourself.
Yeah, Will.
Yeah, Will.
Will, like you're Indigenous, I think, Avo.
I think I'm cutting out. I'm going to try and get my backup router set up real quick.
Okay. All right.
Go place again.
Go to a public-friendly powwow, observe, and culture yourself. I promise that you won't regret it. They get scalped.
Well, I'm not going to take any advice from Chief Lacking Dong over here.
It's never okay to call something your spirit animal, regardless of what that online quiz told you.
Oh, Christ.
Oh shit, the cops are coming.
Well,
They know that we said powwow.
Spirit animal.
I like Ryan Walters in the chat. The spirit of a buffalo tells us of rivers flowing with salt. For real, guys, stop saying that you have a spirit animal. You literally don't. I'm pretty sure no one literally does.
Yeah, there's no such thing. It's made up by your voodoo culture.
Sora says this stream is my spirit animal.
But not culture, religion, but by your voodoo religion. That's right.
Guys, Johnny is right here. Stop talking about.
I actually do have a spirit animal.
Okay, can you tell us what the real definition of a spirit animal is before this asshole, gets all?
Well, a spirit animal is actually they usually come to you in like meditations or they're like assigned through totems. and mine is a raven.
I'm sorry.
So why are you a cat?
Because
Yeah, did you eat the raven?
Raven and a black cat. There's some Halloween theme imagery going on here.
That's Irish appropriation.
He ate the spirit animal.
So Johnny Hellraven. We can make it, huh?
All right.
It sounds like the name, like a goth kid gives himself to be taken more seriously.
I'm trying to be edgy here, Jack. Don't ruin it.
I don't care what that online quiz you took told you or how close you are with your Pomeranian. Whether or not a tribe actually follows the spirit animal ideal, animals play a huge part in native culture. Don't animals play a big part in like any culture?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, but just native culture now. See, that's all that
Yeah.
matters.
Other cultures didn't have animals. The natives invented animals. For you to dilute that by taking a quiz on BuzzFeed that says your spirit animal is a cat because you are always up to something and don't have patience for the stupidity of those around you is extremely offensive to us.
I can't believe they actually knocked BuzzFeed and criticized them. I thought they were on the same side.
I know.
No. BuzzFeed News is the good. The BuzzFeed quizzes. Any idiot can write those. You don't have to be woke to do a BuzzFeed quiz.
Yeah, they're just like Medium articles. Oh wait.
Most tribes don't even have spirit animals. That's just a term that was popularized because it's so easy to understand what it means. Most tribes just have what are called guides, totems, messengers, or in the case of my tribe, gods. For example, my tribe has several gods that are personified animals, my favorite being Micah, the coyote god, who is a friend to the trickster spider god Iktomi and is equally as much of a trickster.
Okay.
Instead, how about replacing it with a term that isn't racially loaded, like Patronus? Y'all like Harry Potter, right?
Oh, Jesus.
Wait, can I just say, what is actually offensive about doing this? What is the offense taken? Okay, you use something the same as somebody else uses them.
Well,
What
I have to
What
look, I'll break it
is
down
the
for you.
offense?
I will break it down for you. Benny Wayne Sully doesn't want you to do it. That is why it is offensive.
No.
I mean,
The
seriously, what is going on in their heads that's like, hey, I'm doing this thing. No, you're not allowed to do this thing. It's bad when you do it just because. What process? What sort of like weird sociopathy is there?
No, the real reason is to them they see it as you disrespecting that culture. It's nonsense. I'm not going to pretend that it makes any sense, but their reasoning is that their culture has a history that you are not respecting when you just superficially grab things that you like from a culture and adopt them as your own. That is their argument.
It's a stupid argument. I mean, for Christ's
I
sake,
agree.
Even though they
superficial.
themselves don't use that quote unquote culture anymore.
Yeah, for the people who make these claims are so very distant from that culture. They have no idea what it means. They have no respect for it. These are the type of people who will drop culture like a fucking brick if it means that they can claim some sort of victimhood for even a second. They will drop all semblance of culture in a second if they can get some sort of social credit out of it, and yet they will claim that I am somehow offensive for at least taking a surface level view of what these people do and enjoying certain elements of it. It's so incredibly petty. It's so incredibly self-absorbed. It doesn't have any base in. Just shut the fuck up, you know?
I think
you're just being an asshole to be an asshole. You don't have any connection to these things that you're heralding as like sacred. You don't know what sacred means.
Serious question for Frosted. How do you feel about them appropriating asshole culture?
I think it's incredibly offensive, and I'm going to have Micah and Iktomi come and, I don't know, steal your eyes or something.
That's the right answer.
Stop referring to people as chief.
Well, because those don't exist in regular culture outside of Native America. I mean, first of all, isn't chief is chief an English word or is it an Indian word?
I'm pretty sure there were chiefs
pretty sure.
in other cultures.
Yeah.
Calling a native chief is offensive. It's a nickname that reduces us solely to our race. And the fact that it is such an honorable title reserved for leaders of tribes makes it so much worse.
I
Chiefs
would have
were
thought that'd make it better. They're saying, Johnny, you're not just a regular Indian, you're a chief. You're one of the good ones. You're one of the high class Indians.
yeah, like how British people get pissed off when you call them like king or something.
Or yes, Queen Slay.
Oh, that's very offensive.
Man, I really wish I had sound pad on this.
I'm glad that you
need
don't.
to get that quiz sound clip.
The quiz one, and then I have my God, what the hell's this guy? What the hell's his name? Rex Reed doing a natives chant. Yeah.
Chiefs were chosen either by tribe or inheritance to lead them and be the proxy for their tribe. So it's just like a king, basically.
Yeah.
I don't run my tribe, so don't call me chief. Also, using chief as a term of endearment for your friends is cringy as well. Don't be that guy. Instead, think of any other nicknames you can call people, like dude or something.
Well, okay, so maybe we do have to start using prairie nigger again.
That's better, Terry.
Chief.
That's better, Terry. Thank you.
Don't worry, fella. I'm not gonna call you chief. I'm just gonna tell you to suck my dick.
I'm not your chief,
and
buddy.
And then when he finishes, okay, chief.
Fine. We'll just call you running with scissors. How's that?
I'm not Indian. I'm Native American, Indigenous, or First Nations.
What?
No, you're not. Shut up.
And
You're an engine. You're an engine, boy.
You're an engine.
An individual holding up an Indigenous Peoples Day sign, photo. He put the caption to a photo. This one is tricky. After 600 years of being incorrect, our primarily white government has made American Indian an official term for natives. In fact, the official federal agency that oversees native land management is called the Bureau of Indian Affairs. However, I know a lot of natives that don't like being called Indian because that just isn't who we are. We're not from India. A good rule of thumb for this is when referring to natives, call us Native American, Indigenous, First Nations, or by your specific band or tribe if you want some extra ally points. And just let natives call each other Indian.
Oh,
How
so
about this?
Indian is like the N-word for
Okay.
native.
Okay, if you say that I can call Camel an Indian, and you can't call me an Indian, that's fucking stupid.
Well, it's N-word rules. If you're of the culture, you can use the slur. That's the way they're presenting it.
No, it's all or nothing, or shut the fuck up.
Hey, I agree. I'm just the moron whisperer here. I'm translating so that you guys can understand where they're coming from.
The whole debate over the word Indian is very easy. Is it feather or is it dot? Enough said.
Yeah, pretty much.
It kind of amuses me in the abstract that Terry is trying to logically explain this thinking, and we're going like, "But Terry, that's stupid."
I know
Terry,
it's stupid.
what's wrong with you? Stop saying these terrible things.
Racial slurs are racist, no matter how antiquated they may be. This one should be a no-brainer, but redskin and Injun are never okay words to say. Still no word on prairie nigger. I do not care
That's
if
true.
I do not care if you are a huge fan of Washington's football team. Redskin is a slur that you are not allowed to say.
There was
Watch me.
actually like a confection in Australia called Redskins, and they changed their name because of all this bullshit.
Hey,
Did they change their name
what's
to
this-
Washington football team? Because that would be great.
What's this guy's name? I want to try searching him on Twitter.
Was it Ben Wayne Sully or something?
Yeah, Benny. Wayne
Benny Wayne Sully.
I'd call him chap sore ass. Is
Oh,
what I would call him.
Benny Wayne Sully appears courtesy of Actors Equity.
What?
Huh?
Okay.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it sounds about right. I'm almost tempted to tweet at him and call him an Indian.
Well, I did get Indians with a Z to follow me on Twitter after calling out our favorite misspelling,
He's right here.
grammatically incorrect, pale as a ghost native writer for the Indian Times.
Get the hair right there.
I called them out on Twitter for not getting him an editor, and then they followed me for it.
Nice. If I hear you say this around me, I will give you warning out of politeness. But after that, I will personally cancel your ass.
No, that's cancel your.
Yeah.
Your A dash. I don't know what an
Yeah.
A dash is. But
I will personally cancel your A
Oh,
dash.
you gotta. God, you are not allowed to say. You and what fucking army, you little prick?
Well, dash
How about
dot,
you cut?
I think that's it. It's
Huh?
going Morse code. Morse code.
Yeah, it's like it reminds me of like internet threats. You know, like what's the one the disabled guy in the wheelchair said?
That
Come
I
and
don't
meet
know.
me in Tallahassee or something.
which guy in the wheelchair are you talking about?
Yeah, there's a lot of guys who
Tonka,
know that.
that's the one.
Oh,
Oh,
that was Knoxville.
Yeah, meet me in Knoxville. Yeah, that's right.
even if you hear two natives talking and one of them says it, that does not give you permission. If you ask any native, I'm sure they've been called either one of those several times during harsh moments of racism, although Injun is fairly uncommon these days.
I have never, in my years, have ever heard any native outside of a reservation called a redskin.
I also
Ever.
love I love the statement "a moment of racism." It's not like someone is just going along and it's like "you fucking nigger" and they're like, "Oh, I'm fine now." Is that a moment of racism?
Mhm.
You know, they just kind of go off. It's like Tourette syndrome. They just have a moment of racism.
And don't call natives or anything they do savage.
no, we're the savages. Remember, we're Alabaster in
Yeah,
nature.
stop
That
taking
word
our
looks
culture.
like sauvage.
I got in a huge Facebook debate over the use of the word savage, and then I was told I was too white to use it.
Another slur that I personally don't tolerate that has recently become colloquially acceptable is savage. It's a lot more innocuous than you'd think, but due to the racially loaded context of the word, it can be extremely offensive and triggering to a lot of natives.
Sorry.
You know, people always say like, "Oh, well, there is no white equivalent for these negative words," and I'm like, that's because we don't give a fuck. All you have to do to stop getting offended by these words, and for them to lose all meaning and power, is to just stop giving a fuck.
Well, look what they did. Look what they did. Like when Black Panther came out, they tried to make colonizer the new next white slang,
Yeah.
and even white people like, "Fuck yeah, let's do this." And they're like,
I'm
"We're
a
not gonna do this
colonize
anymore."
your ass.
But
Right.
that's why I keep trying to just I say nigger because if you treat it as just a regular normal word, then it doesn't have the power that they're trying to give it. Like, if you say, "Oh my God, you said that word," and it becomes the Voldemort of the English language, because I've got to use their language. You see, I've got to put it in terms they'll understand. So the Voldemort of the English language, then that is what makes it powerful. If you're just like, "Hey, Voldy," and then like no one gives a shit, then there's no power behind it.
Let's see. When the incredibly racist Dior Sauvage commercial came out in 2019, I was lucky to have many friends reach out and ask if I was okay.
Oh my God.
How is a cologne commercial incredibly racist?
Oh,
Because it's called Sauvage, and that's one letter away from being a racist slur in their mind.
Or is it because Johnny Depp played Tonto?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Try the new Dior Sauvage.
It'll bring out your Indian. It'll bring out your Indian. Your inner savage.
Where are my friends to help comfort me through this trying time? He said Sauvage.
I was lucky to have many friends reach out and ask if I was okay. I wasn't. The worst part of Show me where the commercial touched you. The worst part.
Did the commercial give you one of these?
The worst part about it is that Dior simply deleted everything having to do with the ad, issued no apology, and went on with its day acting like it didn't just use natives in an ad for a perfume named after the French word for one of the biggest slurs for us.
Oh, there's no amount of baby powder enough for your chapped ass. Good God.
Oh my God.
I don't really care.
He did the commercial and just took it back. Issue an apology.
I don't really care if you say something that someone did was savage, bro, but try to refrain from saying that specifically to your native friends. That's when it can get personal and offensive. I know some people are a lot more forgiving about this one, but I'm not.
So you can say it, just not to that guy over there.
Yeah.
Like...
This and Redskin were the
1024th Native American, so you cannot use the word savage to me.
This and Redskin were the main slurs I got all throughout middle school and high school, and hearing either one is a major trigger for me. Stop saying you're native if you aren't enrolled in a tribe.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Elizabeth Warren.
The worst part of telling people I'm native is that in any social interaction, someone will inevitably claim to also be Native American.
Yeah, Elizabeth Warren.
They'll tell some tale about an old and distant relative that neither they nor their parents ever met, who was a full-blooded Cherokee princess, and because of this, they themselves are also Native American. Never mind the fact that North American native tribes had no form of royalty in any sense.
Then you wouldn't have any problem with the word chief then. There you go.
Yeah, Elizabeth Warren.
I very much doubt that no native tribe had some form of hierarchy, like similar to royalty.
Didn't they have like shamans and shit like that too?
Well, it was like medicine men and like chiefs. Really, it's really.
Well, he said it. He said it. You've got to cancel him.
Like, didn't they just say that chiefs were sometimes like the role was inherited, so it was basically royalty?
Yes, but you're thinking too much. You're supposed to just swallow the bullshit and not dwell on it.
Not surprisingly, the same people that claim native ancestry never cite a specific band or nation. How about like Led Zeppelin? Cherokee is the go-to claimed tribe, but when claiming, they typically don't know anything specific. Even though there are 3 different recognized Cherokee tribes, we call these folks pretendians.
And yet transgender is offensive, but pretendians is fine.
Shouldn't it be like pretend First Nations or something?
Camel knows who the other pretendians are. The other tribe. He'll say it in chat.
A pretendian. Good God.
To be Native American, you don't claim a tribe. A tribe claims you. Is this Yakov Smirnoff now? I am an enrolled Sikangu Lakota, and my reservation is the Rosebud Sioux Reservation in Oak Creek, South Dakota.
I was going to do that same thing.
Snow globe crashes on the floor. If you can't point to a specific band or nation of Native America that claims you as one of their own, you aren't Native. It's as simple as that. With the recent surge of 23andMe-esque DNA tests, people have been doing this way more often. Pretendians fail to recognize the fact that Native tribes reject DNA evidence as a means of proving Native status.
Yeah, Elizabeth Warren.
Except for the fact that if we were to sign up, because they asked me to sign my kids up, and the only way that they'd be able to enroll for tribal benefits is with a blood test.
No. The article quite clearly said that they don't accept DNA evidence.
Yeah.
So is this like
you must be mistaken.
You're like lying, and you're evil for it.
Is this like the equivalent of being in like the
Sorry.
Knights of Columbus or something? Like you got paid dues or something?
No.
Let's see. Also, due to blood quantum laws, being Native is based on the pedigree of our blood, making us one of 3 organisms on Earth determined that way, along with horses and dogs.
What?
What?
Wow. So you really are savages then. Got it.
The worst part of this is that pretendians love to claim Native ancestry, but when was the last time they did something for the betterment of a tribe?
Yeah, Elizabeth Warren. I mean, every point this person makes, you can actually just say, yeah, Elizabeth Warren, because that's exactly what that stupid bitch is trying to do. All the I'm 100, I'm 1,000,
No.
whatever.
In fairness, she does have high cheekbones.
Yeah. They determine it based on cheekbones. They never know or care about Native issues like MMIW, missing and murdered Indigenous women, a modern-day genocide.
The men you can slaughter, that's fine.
A modern-day genocide of Native women. The fact that suicide rates for Native teens are 2.5 times higher than the national average, and that Native teens have a death rate 2 to 5 times higher than that of whites in the same age range.
Why are you comparing them to whites? That has nothing to fucking do with any of this.
Well, and I think from what I understand, and I couldn't cite it if I wanted to, but I believe most of those stats are coming from reservations, which are very like poor.
Unless it's the Cherokee Nation. Cherokee Nation is rich as fuck.
Well, they're sponsored by Jeep, so I mean.
Well, from what I heard, they took the whole Cherokee Nation and locked it on a reservation.
And don't forget the diabetes.
The diabetes.
If you
I'm
claim
curious,
to be...
did all these people who committed suicide do it after reading your article?
If you claim to be Native for vanity and you don't care about us, then you are contributing to the problem.
I hereby claim to be Native.
Terry, stop being part of the problem.
No.
And by the way, our culture is not a costume.
It absolutely is. It's definitionally a costume.
Uh-huh.
Oh shit! I just got a phone call. It said after this article's done, I have 7 days until I'm dead.
Will there be a horde night on day 7?
On a final note, here's a non-verbal thing you should never do and immediately call out if you see someone doing. Stop dressing up as natives. My race and culture are not a costume. Whether it's Halloween...
Sorry. I was going to say, I went through... the Spirit Halloween is one of the stores we had up here. and I went through like some of this to see if anyone was buying some of any of the native gear. And there was one person that looked at it, and she's like, oh, I don't really want to do that kind of thing this year because it was supposed to be like super fucking cold on Halloween, which it typically is up here. It can get down to like -10.
If I were you, I would have just glared at them.
Well, no, I saw. She was all good with it, except for she's like, I'm not sure how I feel about being, and she read the title of it, which was Reservation Royalty.
They didn't have royalty. We were just told that.
Well, no, I like of all the names that you could have come up with, like I think that was the more offensive aspect of it, rather than the fact that there was an actual costume. Like at least effort. That's all I'm asking. Like,
whether it's Halloween or having unknowing first graders wear paper feathers for the Thanksgiving program at the local elementary school, dressing up as another race is never okay. Seriously, try dressing up as...
Why?
Because Benny Wayne Sully doesn't like it. I told you.
They're pieces of cloth. They're just pieces of cloth. That's all they are. That's all they've ever been. It's just
and they're
pieces
offensive
of cloth.
pieces of cloth when the wrong people wear them.
I mean, look what happened the last time they dealt with pieces of cloth.
If I wear a sombrero, does a small Mexican child turn into a sombrero? They're just pieces of cloth.
No, you put it on, and the Mexican child goes to jail.
Do we have to go over the suicide rates again, Jack?
I think we should.
Yeah.
Actually, what's really funny is when we were on the reservation, my eldest sister, who is not full, but she's like not native at all. On my mom's side, my dad is the native on that one, but yeah, when she went to the I think it was middle school back then. It was either middle or I think middle school. They wanted to dress her up for a school play as Pocahontas. And she's like, "Are you sure about this?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, go for it." Like, so they dressed her up against her will as Pocahontas. And she's as white as you can come.
That's like cultural appropriation and rape all in one.
Yeah.
That's cultural rape.
Seriously, try dressing up as any other race on Halloween and you'll end up in hot water. But for some reason, non-natives can take Pocahontas, a 17-year-old who was kidnapped and forced into a marriage with a much older European man, Roman Polanski, make her sexy, call it Pocahottie, and wear that to a Halloween party, and no one bats an eye. I smell a double standard.
You smell something, all right.
And that something is what The Rock is cooking.
I should point out
either that or your leaky vagina over there.
I should point out
Amy Schumer's genitals might be the other thing you're smelling.
True. I should point out that very few tribes actually wore headdresses, but mine is one that did.
Plains tribes.
And if I see you at Coachella wearing one or at Melrose Trading Post selling them as a way to pretend to be a free spirit, I will be calling you out for your blatant racism. It's 2020. There are no excuses. It's the current year.
Oh my God. Somebody used the current year.
The Plains tribes wore headdresses, and that's a lot of area that you're covering. So, yeah, you're gonna...
Are you questioning Ben Wayne Sully?
That sounds
I am questioning him as much as I question Mr. Timmy from indie.com.
Also, while on the subject, if you know of a sports team that uses a specific tribe or native synonymous word as their franchise name, and you want to be a true ally, pen them a letter that says it offends you and you'd like for them to change their name. Nothing may come of it, but it would mean a lot to natives like me.
So I would just like to point out that this entire article was 8 blanket statements about how not to offend Indians.
Stop saying blanket. Damn it, Terry. And with the end of our first article comes our first game.
Yay!
And the first one is one I like to call Sad Libs,
Yay.
where I take 4 articles from Medium, 4 headlines, take out one word, and you have to fill them in Mad Lib style. And then the chat will vote on which one is the best. Jack, what's your word?
Pussy.
All right. And Moon, you have a noun.
Elizabeth Warren.
All right. Terry, you have a place.
I'll stay on theme. Indian reservation.
Hey, Camel suggests place Land O'Lakes.
And Johnny, you have living thing.
Bonus points if it's a terrible thing to lose.
Damn it, Terry, stealing my ELO jokes.
Living thing, Redskins.
All right. So let's see. First, there's Jack's, which is here comes a black woman. Here comes pussy.
Wow.
And Moonshock. Elizabeth Warren is not sexual unless we say so. I think
That's
even
just
if
a
they
fact.
even if they did say so, she wouldn't be.
That's true.
And Terry's surviving fearlessly in the rape capital of Indian Reservation.
Oh.
And Johnny's Adolf Hitler farted like a redskin. All right. And now I'll start the poll. So in the chat, you can vote on which one is the best.
Oh, I
I'm
already
gonna
know
give it
which
to
one.
Jack.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
gonna give it to Jack.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think it's tacky to vote for myself, but even I think that this is it's definitely
It couldn't have come at a better time.
Here comes a black woman. Here comes pussy.
it sounds like something like an old homeless man would say, "Here comes pussy."
I want to use that phrase more in life.
Oh, Jack is overwhelmingly taking this one.
Yeah, one person voted for Moonshock.
Oh yeah, but Jack's gonna take this one away big time.
Of course, but I mean, you're the only person besides Jack to get a vote, so that's fine.
It sounds like the tagline to like a blaxploitation film starring like a hot black chick.
And in the movie, her name is actually Pussy. Here comes the black woman. Here comes boom, 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 pussy.
like the Dr. Tran style.
Oh yeah, Jack, you won this one big
She's
time.
a real pussy.
Yeah, and the winner by a wide margin is Jack.
Yes, I would vote for it.
I won at the totally pointless game where I just said the first thing that popped into my head.
Hey, wins are wins. We take those.
Oh god.
And I forgot to mention that the only way to get out of the executions at the end of after the stream is to win a game. So good
Oh,
luck.
hey.
I embrace sweet death.
Now I must
I'd
question.
live my life.
Now I must question. Perhaps death was worth it if it meant getting out of the next article.
No, you're
don't-
you're
you
not
don't
getting
die
off
until
that
after the
easy.
stream.
And now our next article. What does it mean to be fey as a gender?
It doesn't mean anything because it's not a real thing.
It means that you have some very interesting imaginary friends.
When I woke up one Thursday a couple of months ago, gender wasn't on my mind. I'd been
As it
cis
should
all
be.
I'd been cis all my life, and that was never going to change. That's just the way it was, and that's the way it was always going to be. At least that's what I thought.
Dun dun dun.
God, you can already see the self aggrandizement in this person's tone about
Yeah.
how wonderful it is. Now, I was a boring cis person, and then I found out I can be any gender I want.
No, you forgot the record scratch.
Yeah. Rod
And
Schneider
then-
is a carrot.
Then the meme with Bob O'Reilly starts playing. You might be wondering what I'm doing in this position.
Tell me that picture right there is somebody of a really bad soy face. It really looks like the beginning of a soy face.
I'd had no idea I would be gender fey by the time I went to bed that night. I've since
Gender-
decided.
Are you a fucking fairy?
Yes. Well,
I've
quite so.
In one manner of speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've since decided to drop the gender prefix to just say fey to uncomplicate matters. But how did I get here?
It is exactly that meme. You might be wondering how I got here.
Should we just call you fucking Tinkerbell and be done with it?
This is not my beautiful house. This is not my beautiful wife.
Well, that is not the top of a beautiful face. So that
No.
counts.
No. It started
So
with
began the craziest summer of my life.
Have
It
you
started-
ever tried mescaline?
It started with a tweet a friend of mine sent. It chastised cis people who have listed their pronouns in their Twitter bios, but also specified that they are cis. My bio at the time read in part that I was a cis woman who used she, her.
And
I
you
repli-
changed your entire identity because of a tweet.
Is that
No,
unusual?
she changed her entire identity because she's sad and lonely and empty on the inside and wanted to be special for once.
Oh, she's special.
Congratulations.
She's
Nobody's
very special. She gets her own bus and everything.
Mm.
And a helmet.
I replied to the tweet.
I was gonna say it's got her name on it and everything.
Are your
Please-
pronouns
please
Tinkerbell and Tinkerbye?
I replied to the tweet to clarify that I'd added cis to my bio, because my somewhat androgynous appearance had led people to assume I was non-binary, and I didn't want the appearance of appropriating a non-binary identity. Someone else responded to me, and we began a conversation. The upshot was that they suggested that I might be afraid of appropriating an identity that was rightfully mine, but I just didn't realize it yet. They told me that non-binary woman was a gender, and I liked the idea, so I decided to do some research on people who claim non-binary woman as a gender.
Because
And
words
then I
don't mean
stumbled upon-
anything.
And then I stumbled upon Riley Dennis, and everything
Yeah.
made sense.
No, and Milo Stewart. Milo Stewart is the one who came up with the 76 genders.
It blows me.
But not the non-binary woman was Riley Dennis though.
Right.
The person that they were tweeting is the equivalent is like the gender equivalent of, did you know Jesus has a plan for you? I decided to
Is I was gonna ask, is this the future of gender politics? Is instead of having people show up to your door to tell you about Jesus, people go up to your Twitter and say, "I'd like to tell you about your pronouns."
Well, one thing that I would really like to see is a non-binary sports league. Like, we've got men's leagues, we've got women's. There's no non-binary people are not represented in professional sports.
Well, you can't
No,
be
we have
non-binary and have two
non-binary.
different teams.
We have a non-binary sports league. It's called the Women's League.
No, those are women. Those are binary women. We need a non-binary option.
No,
Some people don't identify as male or female. We need that middle ground.
I can't wait for the non-binary sports league to reveal its first sport is Quidditch, because that's what it's going to be.
I'm willing to put money on the fact that all the non-binary sports champions will be biological men.
Well, no, that's assuming that there will be any non-binary men, because frankly, the whole lot of them are just insecure women.
No,
Just saying.
I've seen some pussified men who wear the non-binary label,
Fair enough, but
and I'm guessing that even a pussified man is going to be stronger than a equally pussified woman.
I decided to try on the label of non-binary woman, even putting it in my Twitter bio to see how it felt as I continued down the gender rabbit hole.
And they get offended if you claim that it's just fashion.
No, of course not. There are fascinating resources out there. What ended up leading me somewhere I never thought I'd go was Gender Wiki, specifically the Gender Fae page.
Jesus.
Why have I not heard of this beautiful resource before? Google, tell me about Gender Wiki.
I am curious myself.
I read the description, which boils down to sometimes feminine, but never masculine. And I felt gender euphoria for the first time.
Gender euphoria. I love it.
I didn't need to try on a gender anymore. I knew I was Fae. When I explain what Fae means to people, I usually point out that it's a non-binary identity. The word I forget to use is gender fluid, although the sometimes part of the description does imply it. To spoof on an old candy bar commercial, sometimes I feel like a woman, sometimes I don't. But I also never feel like a man.
So you're female. That's just.
So you're an insecure female.
No,
Yeah.
she's Fae. It's totally different. So I am Fae. I did use Fae woman as a transitional phrase that I thought would work for me, but then I was misgendered by people who dropped the Fae and only referred to me as a woman, then doubled down on misgendering me because of it even after I explained that the Fae part was the most important. So I'm still...
Oh, this is a rabbit hole. I'm really glad that I went down.
I love the, like, did you get wrong something I just looked up on Wikipedia?
How dare you? I explained it to you and everything, and you think it sounds ridiculous.
This is ruining my gender euphoria. So I'm still fine being referred to as a Fae woman, but none of my social media profiles will use the word woman to avoid confusion. My first taste of gender dysphoria was really hurtful, and I don't want to deal with that again.
Gender dysphoria by not being called a thing you made up 5 minutes ago.
It's Gender Wiki, Terry. This is serious stuff. I don't know how...
I'm doing it. I'm looking it up.
I don't know how... What?
You will not be disappointed.
I don't know how other people of different gender... What?
There's reference to Elliot Page here.
Oh, God.
Oh, I gotta see if there's a random page button somewhere.
I I don't know how other people of different genders deal with this day after day, but I've found that claiming Fae as my own isn't just about gender. I never really understood how or why some of my fellow autistic people claimed they were aut-gender or autigender, with autism specifically informing their personal gender identities. I suppose I still don't, even though Fae encompasses some of that for me.
See, claiming Faye is not just about gender, it's also about getting attention because she was not getting enough of that before.
Oh,
She was just a boring cis person.
Oh god, there's a comment section.
Oh, God.
Oh, dude,
First one.
the first comment, dude.
The first comment, it says, I feel both like I'm no gender, but also all genders at the same time.
Oh no. Oh, you didn't get the same one I did.
I can't believe there are people who think this stuff is nonsense. Fae as a descriptor embodies a whole lot more than gender, and I'll explain why the rest of it is relevant to me and not just a complicating factor in people understanding that I'm Fae. The Fae are beings of legend, specifically in European folklore. They are also called fairies, the fair folk, etc. And for some people...
And if I call a gay person a fairy, I'm the bad guy.
Yeah, because they're not gender Fae.
They're gender
This
Fae
page-
hot, but not gender Fae. Okay.
This page doesn't have enough user information on it, so it has a little disclaimer. This page is about a gender identity that is not widely used among gender variant people. This does not mean that the identity is not valid, but that very few people are known to use this term.
Oh my god, I want to log in just so I can put in the comments first.
Definitely.
For all the transphobes on this page, seriously, what? I can't believe your brains are so minuscule that you refuse to try and suck it up and listen to others. All I'm seeing is you claiming that there are two biological genders, and so that means there's only two ways you can identify.
And for some people who would otherwise be gender Fae, alternate terms like gender doe and gender thill were created out of respect for people who believe in them. But it's all
Now,
part of...
Gender Phil Hartman is one I can get behind.
What the fuck is gender Phil? Who the fuck makes up these stupid fucking words?
I identify as Phil Hartman.
Oh my god.
But it's all part of why Fae resonates with me so much. Let's see. In centuries past, folklore referred to certain types of disabled children as changelings. Yada yada yada, something about autism.
Hello, can I identify as big gender flux if I'm a demigirl and agender and both part fluctuates?
Let's see. Okay.
Sorry, I'll stop interrupting now.
All right. Just gonna skip it a little.
I identify as fag and nigget, as was established in the previous stream.
Well, so let's see. While some people who are Fae use Fae, fair as their pronouns, I prefer to keep the she/her pronouns I've gone by my whole life. It gives me the joke that my pronouns are Sid, he, her, where Sid, he, pronounced she, is the Irish word for the fairy folk.
Oh dear God. She thinks she's being clever.
I gotta just say the last paragraph on this. On the first comment that I read, this is the last paragraph on that. I don't know how else to say other than not everything is about you.
Self-awareness levels.
It's about
zero.
me. And then the first reply is, "It sucks to suck." LMAO.
As genealogy is one of my special interests, I know I have Irish heritage, so I'm not appropriating lore that isn't a part of my family history. Good, I'm sure a lot of fairies would be offended. I can't speak for anyone else who is gender Fae. Like, all three of them.
No one else is gender Fae.
They may use different pronouns and shun terms like mother, wife, and girlfriend that I still accept as belonging to me. The thing that ties us together, though, is that our gender is never masculine. I know so very few others who are Fae. I'm surprised. If you are gender Fae or any of its related genders, I'd love to hear from you in the comments about what being Fae means to you. And as an aside, I'm Fae, give me your dead name and none can use it again. It will be mine.
Oh, wow.
Well, I think we've learned a lot today.
Yes.
This is
I think gender Fae goth is the next step from gender Fae.
Faggot. All right.
This was amazing. This was amazing, Frosted.
Oh, this brought up a whole rabbit hole.
See? Oh, no. Finally, Jack understands why I like all these articles.
I gotta start looking at Gender Wiki. All right, and with the end of the section,
this one's called Ice Boy.
so
One
you
word.
could just like choose an X-Men as your gender.
Oh, speaking of X-Men, did everyone see my tweet on the subject?
What was the tweet?
Gail Simone was saying, name your 4 favorite X-Men. So I was like, Chaos Eve, Blair White. And
But
I wonder if Super Straight is on here.
somehow I doubt it. And with the end of the second article comes our second game, and this is one that I call Poe or No, where I give 3 headlines, 2 of which are from Medium and 1 I made up, and you have to figure out which one is made up. So, headline A, misogyny is oppression, misandry the response. Headline B, the Capitol riot, this generation's Tulsa massacre. And headline C, I'm a white supremacist, whether I like it or not. And the chat can vote too. I'll start the poll right now.
C sounds like one that I heard before, so I'm gonna say C.
All right.
I think it's too obvious. I'm gonna go B.
All right. Johnny shows B. Terry says C.
I'm gonna go B.
All right. Moon says B.
Mm.
And don't forget your lives are on the line.
well, as I said, I've lived my life. I'm okay with this.
Yes, I want to claim that tombstone.
Looks like the chat is leaning B, or it looks like A and B are neck and neck.
I've got 4 decades under my belt. I think that's plenty.
That'll be on my tombstone. Frosted glass was here.
Yeah. It looks like a oh, no, B just squeaked it out just in time. All right, so the chat says B. And let's see, the answer is B is fake.
Yeah.
Well done, sir.
Thank you.
So looks like, is Terry the only one still on the chopping block?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm afraid that Terry's gonna have to die. I
Don't
don't
be
want
afraid.
Terry to die. I like Terry.
And Terry's horrible.
Don't be afraid. I've said it. I've lived my life. I've got 4 decades under my belt. This is my time to go. So
and the third game is going to get him too.
Terry,
Make sure you pick a.
You go first.
Make sure you pick a good gender to put on your tombstone.
No, because what you're all missing is I can just steal someone else's life force next time we play Trivia Murder Party.
I was gonna say, Terry, I think it's safe for you to go outside now. And
right.
Terry will get that.
And now our third article. I'm afraid to date white men.
Oh my god.
Hey,
I'm not afraid, just unwilling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
that's basically it.
You're supposed to suck the dick, bigot, remember?
and I am unwilling.
For a few years now, I've been afraid to date white men. Not against, but afraid. And it's something I've been battling with internally for a while. Why am I afraid? Well, I'm afraid to fall in love with a white man and all of a sudden hear him say the N-word.
But which N-word? They never clarify which N-word. I'm gonna assume it's nuisance. He's like, honey, you're being a nuisance. You said the N-word.
I love the idea
I'm gonna
that like
assume
all
it's
white men are ticking
knockers.
all white men are ticking time bombs.
It's just you're living your life so peacefully, and then bam, you say nigger.
Look, I will say nigger so you don't have to.
That'd be great to be like, hey, honey, this nigga stole my bike. Hey, you can't say that because I let him borrow it.
I'm afraid to date a white man who views me as his sexual fetish, aka BBC, aka Big Black Cock. I'm afraid to date
a gay guy. I didn't realize that.
So as long as he calls your dick small, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to date a white man who doesn't see color and participates in colorblind racism.
Well, I'm factually colorblind, so as I'm out of the contention. I don't get to date this wonderful person.
So you were born racist.
Yeah. If his cock is red and green, I will not be able to see it properly.
These people are unreal. They think that anyone wants to date them. Guess what? You're an asshole. No one wants to date you, and anyone who would don't want to date you is probably just as insufferable as you are.
No, he's not an asshole. He's the cock. He's looking for an asshole.
Yeah, get it right.
Ew.
I'm afraid to date a white man who is oblivious to his societal position and privilege awarded to him by society due to his skin color. I'm afraid to date a white man who doesn't fully value the lives of black and brown people such as myself. Don't get me wrong, I consider white men attractive, unlike many who due to their sexual racism, find certain races unattractive. I still swipe right on white men. I have white friends. I have white friends. My mother is white, and I have white family members. Oh, he has white friends. That makes it okay.
No, he's got a racist mother, so I don't know that we should take anything he says seriously from this point on. Yeah, he's at least half racist.
Yeah. Quite frankly, it's not their skin color specifically or their phenotypical attributes that scare me. I don't view white people as evil, bad, and racist monsters, but I do reckon.
You literally just said that.
But I do recognize that white people have been birthed and raised in a society that upholds them. White people have been raised in a society that places them as the default of the human race. White people, especially white Americans, have been born and raised in white hegemony.
Well, I'm not American, so maybe I'm back in the running.
I don't know, possibly.
All white people are American.
I am colorblind, but I'm not American, so I think that the two balance each other out.
White people in the United States live in a society where white people have social, cultural, economic, ideological, and political control of society. Whether white people want it, reject it, deny it, or believe it, they have it. Due to white hegemony, white people are able to see countless positive images of themselves and also see countless negative images of black people, such as myself, or my black brothers and sisters.
I'm seeing a very negative picture of black people, and it's called this article.
Let's see. All right. They live in a...
Sorry.
Oh, here we go. They live in a society that esteems their languages, dialects, phenotypes, culture, beliefs, intelligence, beauty, innocence, and religions. The same society that disregards black people and their languages, dialects, phenotype, culture, beliefs, intelligence, beauty, innocence, and religions.
And yet the only people who talk about it.
My suggestion is, have you tried not being black?
Yeah.
It sounds like a terrible idea. Based on everything you're saying, it seems like you made a bit of a tactical error in choosing black. So maybe rethink your choice.
Have you considered being Fey race?
Oh God! I
Let's
dated a
check.
fae yesterday, and oh my God, was that magical dust so great?
Hashtag pray the fae away.
Pray the fae.
And the thing that makes it great is that, like, just recently I made a new Pathfinder character, and it's a sorcerer of the Fey bloodline.
Oh boy.
Oh dear.
And of course, I find that article afterwards.
You're going to be very popular with the author of the previous article. Then they're going to want to join your game because you're very inclusive.
Hey, look at that! I found a second imaginary thing.
What?
No, I'm because you. Never mind. Keep going.
They are afforded the benefit of seeing themselves as exclusively Americans. They are also afforded the privilege of ignorance about the experiences by Black, Indigenous, and people of color, BIPOC.
I still think that sounds like a rapper.
Should be BIPOC or BIPIC. But because of their blurred lens of whiteness, they aren't able to fully see me and my experience, or the experiences of other racialized people. Because society teaches them that their ideologies, colorblindness, meritocracy, and individualism are supreme, they are afforded the privilege to ignore the voices and experiences of BIPIC and their cries of injustice.
We fucking baby.
I recognize today that my mental health is essential to my longevity and quality of life. Well, then it doesn't look too good for you. And dating a white man could put my mental health in jeopardy. And having to constantly defend and prove my experiences and beliefs to a man whose beliefs have been upheld as truth would be a detriment to my sanity.
Just a reminder, he said he still swipes in the way that suggests he likes them on white guys on the app. So he's so terrified that he still wants to fuck them.
Just picturing him like in a padded cell, like, you know, like what happened to him? He dated a white guy. The gaslighting and emotional abuse would be a threat to my mental well-being. The sexual fetishization of my black body would be a threat to my self-worth.
Again with the black bodies. Stop saying black bodies. It sounds creepy and weird. Just say black person. Say person.
I think gaslighting sounds like setting a fart on fire.
And the sound and the problem with self-worth is the key word there is self.
Yeah.
No, it's the white people's fault. The usage of the N-word would be a break in my trust. The inability to say hashtag Black Lives Matter would give me a signal that they aren't aware of or willing to hear black voices. His unintentional...
So breaking into stereotypes, he could beat the shit out of you. He could put you in the hospital. He could do any normal and countless things. But if he says the N-word, it's off.
Yep.
Jesus.
His unintentional but inevitable and racist actions would have a harmful impact on my emotions. Let's see. All right, I'll just skip to the last paragraph. Maybe one day I will find a white husband who can recognize his privilege and be conscious enough and willing to do the work of anti-racism. A white man who's willing to take constructive criticism without white fragility and the need to defend themselves and their moral character. But whomever I find in my future, regardless of race, he will be a man that values me completely and that of black lives, and he will be a man who is willing to listen to my experiences and beliefs and that of black people.
Oh.
And he exists just as much as Faye gender.
Mm-hmm. I mean, reading that whole thing, you just at the very end, you just want to go, "Oh, poor little fella, you little goddamn pussy! Shut the fuck up."
Maybe we should give him a chief name.
Let's see. All right, and now it's time for our last game,
Chief Gaping Hole.
How about running joke?
No,
Chief.
that goes too much with runs on premise.
Yeah, Chief runs with premise. And premise running thin. That's got to be one of my favorite South Park episodes.
Right. Everyone laughs like ha 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 ha.
All right, and now it's time for our last game, Wheel of Oppression.
Oh God.
Yay!
This is your last chance, Terry.
I told you I'm fine with dying.
All right, so each one of you has to pick one of the items on the list to the left, and then one by one, you'll explain in about a minute or so why it is one of the offenses on the wheel.
Well, I'm going to take springs before anyone else does.
I knew you were going to do that.
Cookie sheets.
No springs.
Sticky notes.
All right, Johnny.
Corked bottles.
All right. Let's see. So we'll start with Jack,
Yay!
and I forget what your item is, but you have to explain why it's.
Cookie sheets.
I don't know. It's right on the line. I can't tell. We'll go with.
That's no.
I think it's slightly in xenophobic.
Yes, xenophobic.
All right, we'll go with xenophobic. Why are
Well,
cookie sheets xenophobic?
Well, obviously, the ultimate example of xenophobia is the gingerbread man, because look at him. He's brown in color, and we just decorate him. We just decorate him in all sorts of stereotypical sugar things. It's basically it's almost as bad as an Indian headdress. That what we do to the gingerbread man with his noble heritage from Gingeria. And so I think that we should stop putting gingerbread men on cookie sheets. In fact, just get rid of cookie sheets altogether. No cookie sheets, no gingerbread men. And you can't give them like weird, scraggly Muslim beards or anything, because that would be offensive. That would be offensive to give them pube beards.
All right, the orchestra's playing you off.
the hook is coming out.
All right.
I'm done.
And now, Moonshock, what was your item?
Mine was sticky notes.
All right.
I'm praying for the colorist.
You have to explain why sticky notes are homophobic.
Oh, see, sticky notes are homophobic because there are so many colors, but most people just want pink and blue. But you know what? You can't have just pink. You can't have just blue. You got green. You've got yellow. Well, primarily yellow. But you've got all sorts of colors that they represent things other than the homosexual crowd. So that is obviously a homophobic thing, because clearly the rainbow ones, which you don't see, are the ones that don't get sold because they don't exist. That's why the sticky notes, they have to be in rainbow color to include everything and be so inclusive, but you just don't see it. So guess what? All the pink ones, the blue ones, the yellow ones, the green ones, whatever color they are, it doesn't matter, because they're all homophobic. Because why? No rainbow sticky notes. And that is why sticky notes are homophobic.
All right. Very good. And
Thank
now,
you.
Terry, I know you chose springs,
Yes.
and you have to explain why springs are.
If you get the white, you get to say no spring.
Transphobic.
Oh.
Okay, so the reason springs are transphobic is because the general fear that people have when it comes to trans people is that they're going to hook up, and then the trans person is just going to spring the dick on them and catch them unawares. So because this is the totally invalid fear. All trans people are very upfront about their dicks, and it's a total myth that they like to trap straight people into having sex with a dick. So because of that, anything to do with springs, including springs themselves, very transphobic and need to be abolished. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
So essentially, what you're saying is that we need to do no springs.
Correct.
Exactly. And now, Johnny, your thing was corked bottles, I think?
Cork bottles, yeah.
Well, you have to explain why corked bottles are... Oh, you landed on white privilege, so you get to pick any of them.
Ah. Let's see. I think I'll go with ableist.
All right. Why are corked bottles ableist?
Well, you see, with cork bottles, you have to have hands to uncork them, and able hands are the greatest thing ever. So if you want to take something like, you want to give a handicapped kid some water, like, oh no, stick the cork on, call it good. You just can't. You can give him the guy thing, but he's just going to be sitting there like listfully scratching at the cork, and he's not going to get that thing open. So you just have to have him. I think am I going 4 cork bottles for that one? That might be.
So you're pro ableism?
Apparently. Maybe I just want to see a listless hand scratching at a cork just to get water out of the bottle.
I'm just imagining the kid banging his head against the bottle.
And on the note of laughing at disabled people, it's time to vote who had the best argument. And that is up to the chat. Instructions on how to vote are up on the screen.
I'm going to cast my vote for Terry because I don't want him to die.
You do not get a vote, Jack. It is the chat only. We've had this discussion with the caption contest.
Well, I'm verbally voting, which doesn't
so
count.
Votes don't count, so that's fine.
But if Terry wins, I don't get to kill anybody.
But the purpose of the game is to have the most fun, and the most fun allows me to vote.
Then with your mutiny, you can just do shoot to wound.
Well, I'm just thinking, even though he wasn't like part of the core group, Johnny was one of the traders as well. Has he won a game? You might still get to kill someone.
Actually, I have.
Yeah, he was right in the he was right in the Poe or No game.
I beat with Moonshock.
That's right.
I thought it was just Moonshock, so that's why I was confused.
Oh, thanks.
And Terry won, meaning I don't get
Terry
to
lives.
I have to send my. No, there were 2. I have to send my firing squad home. Maybe I'll just have the firing.
Away.
Hey, just have him listen to Biden. You can shoot him in the leg.
I was going to say, look, just settle for kneecapping. You can survive that.
I think I'll just tell the firing squad to shoot themselves. As a consolation.
Well, did I get 100% of the votes? That's crazy.
All right, and time for our last article. Opposing anti-racist math education is racist and ignorant of math history.
What? Oh, God.
1 + 1 = Black Lives Matter.
1 + 1 = slavery. How many non-white people are questioning anti-racist math education? I would venture to say almost 0. There is a dangerous space of conversation led by white people that say we need to critically look at things, adopting the default Platonist view of mathematics, and that it should be looked at first. In short, that Western perspective is only one perspective, but has been the dominant one in math education from the get-go.
No. Not even remotely.
No, he just said it. So when discussions,
That's not true at all. That's not even close to true. Mathematics is like the most diverse, the most ethnically diverse subject ever.
Look,
It all comes from different places.
Just because we use Arabic numerals doesn't mean that white supremacy hasn't guided the history of mathematics.
I do like
E equals BLM squared.
Yeah, I do like that, but I think that leftist math would be more E equals Tiananmen squared. Let's see. In short, that Western perspective is only one perspective. I already get that part. So when discussions start happening about anti-racist math education, or ARME, good-intentioned math educators feel compelled to man/Eurocentric explain that there is nothing inherently racist about the way mathematics is being taught. Yup, starts with the bad optics of white males chiming in, and then it all goes downhill.
Oh, shut the hell up.
As they unknowingly provide support for anti-racist math education.
Well, if they're supporting it, what's the problem?
Take, for example, this article that was posted by Jonathan Bartlett in the Equity and Social Justice Math Facebook group. I would love to join that Facebook group. Below is an excerpt from that article. Let's see. Mathematics gives students practice in core reasoning. Yada, yada. That is like the most inert, limiting, Western biased trajectory of mathematics that one could say. I love that is the goal, the cherry on top of this inadvertent nod to narrow-minded ideas of math education. Here's another article, color me not surprised, but another white male, drunk on ivory tower elitism, trying to write a balanced piece with heavily imbalanced ideas. Another winner.
So is this article saying 1 + 2 = nigga?
1 + 2 = what?
Nigga.
Just admit the author should just admit that they failed out of math class and became a journalist, and that's why they hate math. And so now they're trying to destroy it.
My question is, what's the alcohol content in ivory tower elitism? Because I haven't heard of that drink.
Yeah, I think there's a different tism involved. Another winner from the education gulag of 20th century mindset.
This just reminds me, TISM is actually an Australian band, so it stands for This Is Serious, Mum.
There is just a skewed and unhealthy idea that math's primary purpose is rooted in functioning externally in society, from anything from balancing a checkbook to finding one's career aspirations in numbers. It is in this flea market of the performance culture that we find the seeds of the aberrant attacks on anti-racist math education. Levering their math knowledge, whiteness, and privilege, they can write the laziest and most uniformed pieces. I'm guessing they meant uninformed.
No, they meant that their arguments are wearing these very snazzy uniforms, possibly made by Hugo Boss.
Uniformed pieces, without even thinking they are utterly lost in this discussion. By clinging to the Western bias of mathematics' main purpose, high-profile writers, academics, and politicians have all taken what they believe is their rightful swing at anything which undermines the truth about mathematics. That a subject based on objectivity cannot be infiltrated with bias, prejudice, and racism.
Well, by definition, it can't. So, I mean,
yeah, objective things are not subjective. Oh my! That reminds me. I was watching a video the other day where there was a woman who was running an NPR, a New Hampshire public radio program, and her argument in favor of critical race theory, part of it included the words, objectivity is subjective.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I just like that Johnny
This
and I
is-
went the exact same way in chat.
Truth.
The objectors to ARME actually have a bigger problem than their academically coded racism. Many are woefully ignorant of math history. They wouldn't have a clue to tracing the trajectory of the thematic development of mathematics through every race, culture, and civilization. They wouldn't know that the Fibonacci sequence was discovered hundreds of years earlier by Sanskrit poets. They wouldn't know the current use of a number like 0 is faulty and confusing. 0 was supposed to the lowest number according to the sutras of Brahmagupta. They wouldn't know that the fractal antenna makes cell phones possible is actually an indigenous design of Africa that goes back 500 years.
So,
Wow.
it's almost as if they're saying that math history is incredibly diverse and not just white, like they were originally claiming.
Well, if the Kama Sutra has taught me anything, anything can go into a 0.
Holy sh- they're trying to say that we was cell phones.
We was Verizon.
Can you hear me now and shit?
No. Can you hear me now? Truth.
The people who decry ARME see mathematics through a tiny, clouded lens, as an inert subject that is all about getting the right answer, so you can get the right job. It's about as dehumanizing and demoralizing as a compass you could find to navigate your shallow arguments. This is how you are selling mathematics to the world and to yourself. Surely you have read Death of Salesman. Not Death of a Salesman, just Death of Salesman.
That's the knockoff copy,
Yeah.
the discount version that if you can't get the real thing, you kind of settle for that one.
It's about the other Jake from State Farm.
Ramanujan studied mathematics for beauty and spiritual connection. I didn't find that purpose on Jonathan Bartlett's list. Ramanujan is one of the greatest mathematicians in history, but Bartlett is at least ignorant of Ramanujan's religious social background to dismiss purposes of math education beyond robotic functioning for society.
So how do you do maths for beauty? Like, do you
sounds
just like, man, if you turned that 8 sideways, it'd almost look like tits.
It sounds like someone's been reading from Tariq Nasheed's journal.
Yeah.
If there's any references to washing your ass, then we know that they have.
No, his math book, Wash Your Eights.
Mathematics was never racist, but white people have made it racist by shading global contributions, multiracial, multicultural beauty, and higher personal purpose to the margins. As such, there is a moral imperative to make it anti-racist.
Fucking white quadratics.
I want to put my 1 in your 0, baby.
So basically, this author's whole complaint is that some mathematicians were overshadowed by other mathematicians because the other mathematicians had access to journals and written language.
But
Which
they
is racist.
But they missed out on the beauty and philosophy and stuff of math,
Yeah.
which makes math bad.
Like I said, this person failed a math class, and that's why they're so, they're trying to destroy mathematics as we know it. We was zeros and shit.
If mathematics was dropped off in a test tube by aliens on a beach 100 years ago, the idea of mathematics being racist is impossible, could have some merit. Since it is a human construct linked inexorably to our identity, it has the potential to be misused and mischaracterized by those in power to serve and affirm their power.
2 + 2 = 5, people. for very large values of 2.
What you're complaining about is history. You're complaining about history. You're not complaining about math. There's no problem with math. You're complaining about history. And guess what? If you have a problem with history, get in line. Most people have a problem with historical figures. That's just the name. Sometimes
I like the idea that he's trying to keep math out of the wrong hands.
We don't want math in the hands of white supremacists.
It's actually maths, plural, just to correct you on your repeated American error.
Outlaw semi-automatic assault equations.
Common sense
I'm
equation reform.
Unlike the woman in the article in the tweet that Johnny shared, I'm not afraid of the letter S, so it is maths.
Oh God.
MAFS, maths.
Maths and truths.
People who
we was lightning and shit. Remember that person that they were like,
yes,
decolonize science.
The witch doctor just used the right kind of math and made lightning come down.
Your colonialized science can't explain
that. People who are crying foul over ARME are the laggards in this conversation. They not only lack the mathematical chops, but they are generally dialing in their arguments on a rotary dial phone. Don't pretend to be wanting to be allies here. Your pausing and manufacturing pushback in the name of critical analysis is a bit unsettling. So sorry, you got the wrong number. You should have dialed the 20th century.
Speaking of someone who also has a word of the day calendar, hey Sherry, what's the word of the day today?
Pick a uni is the word of the day. Actually, yesterday's word was actually meme, which I thought was hilarious.
What did you say today's word was?
Pick a uni. PICAYUNE.
Yeah, I mean that kind of sounds like it could be a slur.
well, pickaninny is what we used to call Aboriginal children or women. One of the two. I can't remember because this is before my time. But pickaninny was what we called them. So yeah, it does sound pretty similar to a slur.
Anti-racist math education is inextricably linked to math history, which is woven with storytelling from all races, cultures, civilizations, and tribes.
Yeah, but history's not math.
No, it is. Like that, all the stories and stuff. Mm-hmm. Without that, math is useless.
But I'm extremely offended by the use of the word history. Why isn't this article saying herstory?
Yes,
is the correct recoining of the phrase.
This just reminds me of what was it? Beast of the Futurama, Into the Great Wild Green Yonder, with the feminist who changes everything into he changes it to herstory.
And Ginger Snap in chat has clarified pickaninnies were the Aboriginal children. So just for the benefit of everyone.
All right. We don't want to call the wrong people pickaninnies.
No, you don't.
That's as bad as saying chief.
Oh.
Your opposition to it might indicate that you are missing a soul. And really,
I am missing a soul, actually.
Wait, mathematics without history is soulless. Yes!
Hey, what does this have anything to do with gingers, man? Shut the fuck up.
Math doesn't have a soul.
No, if you want a soul, there's one in Korea.
Can we put Terry back on the firing line for that one?
Why are you booing me? I'm right.
Math doesn't have a soul. It doesn't have a narrative. It just is. It is used as a descriptor. It's not history. You're just trying to to pair it with history because that's the way that you get your narrative in there, and it just doesn't fit. It is objective. It is totally 100% objective. It does not contain your narrative. It just contains numbers.
Do you have any idea how quickly Ramanujan is spinning in his grave right now?
Can power a small city.
So if you take the speed of the rotation,
Well, we can't calculate that. We don't know these math stories. And really, that's what it kind of gets boiled down to. Engaging in chess-like discussions about this are kind of fruitless. Do you want to hear the stories of mathematics and your students? Answering no is morally unacceptable.
Well, yeah, that's what you're going to get out of me, so shut up.
Okay, this person's like, engaging in these discussions is fruitless. Yeah, guess what? That's because you're just wrong. There is no chess game. You're like, you move a pawn and the other guy moves his thing and says checkmate. On the first move, you didn't even know that was possible, but it is.
I think you're missing something. The reason he thinks it's fruitless is because he's a vegetable.
I'm thinking of calling back the firing squad.
Mission
Answering
accomplished.
Answering no is giving space and oxygen for racism and math education. So, if you don't know the story of Ramanujan, you're racist.
Yeah.
Well, I'm white, so I'm racist no matter what.
then hood me up because I have no idea who that guy is.
Well, that's all I had for tonight, gentlemen. But I think this was a great learning experience.
Encore!
No.
We learned a lot tonight.
Uh-huh.
And I hope you in the chat have as well.
And chief among the things that we learnt.
No! All right.
I'm melting!
Way to wrap that one up, Terry.
Now I have to call all my friends and see if they're okay after Terry's comment.
It's not like I was savage about it.
I have extra blankets if they need security.
Oh.
So I'll just shill out my co-hosts. Jack Gunsky has Crippers United on Sundays at 7 p.m. EST. Let's see. Moonshock has his Twitch streams, where he Twitch games that aren't as good as Super Seducer.
Of course.
Correct.
Linked in the description. Terry is on this. He's on Crippers United. He's on Johnny Hellcat streams. He's on Della Hayes Minions of the Zoo Nights. And he's on Six's gaming streams.
Yep.
All right. And Johnny, anything you want to shill?
Nothing so far. I'm still kind of disheveled after moving some stuff around. I do have a couple formats that I'm looking at starting up. Hopefully they will be moderately entertaining. So yeah, something regular and scheduled. Hopefully.
Nice.
If you want to make friends, Johnny's streams will help you do that by the means of torture. That is a recurring theme among some of his streams. So if you want to make friends, that is how you do it.
Yes.
All right.
So don't watch the powwow streams because, as we've discovered, those are highly racist.
That's right.
Well, it is between a couple of Indians, so it doesn't count because we're there. We call it
No, but the audience isn't entirely composed of Indians. So
it's very true.
But you're using it in a fun and cutesy way, which, as we know, is a big no-no.
I don't know. I think there will be a lot of research that needs to go into whether the stream is allowed.
Well, if I'm
All
not white, if I'm too white to say savage, then chances are I'm too white.
Yeah,
to call
that's
it powwow.
good point.
All right.
Did you say you're like 1/16?
No, I am 1/4, 40% to be numerically accurate.
Oh, okay, I thought it was the other. Like I think it was Camel was 16 and you were
I think Camel is
Camel's an 8th, isn't he?
documented at an 8th. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to keep track of all the numbers there.
So Johnny is allowed to say more slurs than Camel is?
I think so. I think that's how it works.
Even though Camel uses way more slurs than I do.
Well, you can tell him to stop.
Maybe
All right.
I'll have to give myself one of these blankets.
All right. Well, the corner will be back next week, same time, under the rightful leadership. All right. So we'll see you guys next week.
See everyone.
Bye.
Okay.
2 + 2 = black.